Hi Ragni, how are you doing?
I'm good, Sue. How are you?
I'm doing well. So you've been extremely busy through the from the time the lockdown began, and you've turned to helping others through the pandemic and following through even now. Tell us about your journey.
I just think that it's something that comes from within to me. And from the beginning of the lockdown, I actually started with doing this basic food from home for all the COVID doctors and nurses at Victoria Hospital. Actually, we got an inquiry. A friend of mine said that, there's a requirement for food and meals and all that. And I think that was one of the best decisions that I took to actually try and help and initiate helping people because we were doing water and we were doing some snacks and refreshments to all the cops around our area. So I live near Yalanka, which you I think are very fond of. So yeah, so we were doing basic refreshment services and stuff like that. And then I got this inquiry, and I was more than happy to help. So my mom helped me cook. I think we put up quite a few interesting pictures and videos of how the whole family got together and started doing meals for Victoria Hospital to begin with, and we did it for quite a few days. And I think that's how everything started. And as I started doing this food service for the government hospital, I started getting inquiries for other hospitals. I started getting inquiries that if we would be able to, do meals for people. People started approaching me. So I was like, why not? In this time of need, I think the only thing or the basic thing that anybody can do is just help each other, right? I think that is something that has always been a part of my character or the things that I've done. I just think that it's been noticed and talked about right now because nobody else is doing what I'm doing, and I'm extremely proud of it. There's no pressure on anybody to do something or not do something. So I think that's how it started. But I'm glad because there was a point that we reached to doing about 5,000 meals every day for people, and now also we are doing about 1,000 meals on an average, all around town. So it just makes me really happy that in this time of need, I'm able to just do my bit towards giving back to the people who giving me so much love and acceptance.
You mentioned about the doctors and the staff at Victoria Hospital, and so tell us, how were the interactions out there? Because that's some place that a lot of them would hesitate going, but you've gone there and braved the whole thing.
So you know what? Right now, although we're talking about the Corona warriors, we're talking about the doctors, we're talking about the nurses. Unfortunately, nobody actually knows what's going on over there. And like you rightly said, that I've actually interacted with all the nurses and the doctors because I was in touch with the dietitian of the hospital, and they were craving to eat basic food like chana bhatura or like a sandwich, or because they are 24/7. Either they're on duty or they're quarantined. So basically, every doctor or every person who's serving at the hospital right now has to do a shift of 2 weeks. So they serve for 2 weeks and then they're 2 weeks quarantined. And the moment they come out of quarantine, again, they're at service. So they're not actually allowed to even get out of the premises of the hospital. So it's quite a crazy scene. So when I interacted, so through videos and through, the messages that they used to send me eating the food, they were craving for basic, what do you say, masala wala khana, or something really different. Because how much can you also eat hospital food? See, it's not that it's bad or anything, but we're so used to always keeping our taste buds on the go with the kind of food that we eat. Everybody loves to eat different kinds of food, and I just catered to that. We would just make different kinds of meals for them, and it is, I think, a huge morale boost for everybody because they're not really getting the basics. I've sent cupcakes to them, I've sent juices to them, I've sent, like basics of soft drinks to them, and besides that, rolls, your noodles and veg fried rice and stuff like that. So it's made it a little more interesting, and you should see the happiness that they get eating that, and that makes you really happy, putting smiles on people's faces who are actually truly doing so much towards fighting this disease, keeping their lives at risk. So yeah, I mean, it is really really heart touching and heartfelt, when I had interactions with these people. It's really nice.
You also are interacting with the government as such. So tell us what is your role? What are you doing?
So basically now I am front-ending a few very, very big campaigns, important campaigns right now besides COVID. See, what has happened is we've neglected a lot of things just because the whole primary focus has become corona, corona, corona. So besides, of course, I am on the government department team for fighting corona, and we're also creating awareness with that. I am a part of the department for that, and in terms of creating awareness, in terms of doing programs, and also now, I've been recognized by the WHO and the UN to front end a few social awareness programs for the state. And I feel extremely privileged, extremely proud to be doing that. So I'm meeting with, the CMO, I'm meeting with the health department, I'm working with them with regards to a few very strong awareness campaigns, and campaigns that will actually, in the long run, be very beneficial. Starting from, of course, the pandemic time, but eventually we intend to see the main purpose of doing these programs is to have like a longer approach towards every single thing. Right now, whatever we are starting, it may seem like it's a COVID thing, and also starting a welfare was the primary purpose was that only, that eventually you can through the welfare do different kind of awareness programs and actually help people get better. That's the only thing.
An obvious speculation from everything like this is politics on your mind? What is the scene there?
I actually, there is honestly, the work that I'm doing is completely from my heart, and I want to do it because I want to help people out there who actually need the kind of help. And if a position or a department or a government can help me achieve it, I will definitely be a part of it, and I will support them and I will promote them. See, because right now, if you see, Karnataka is the only state that is actually 100 times much better than any other state that is going through the pandemic right now, and they've managed it quite well. The departments are doing their job really well. Since I'm now in the departments with the teams, seeing the work that they're doing and also helping them do different kinds of work, I know that the department has done a phenomenal job. Okay? So if it comes to politics, see, I don't have a political agenda behind doing the work that I'm doing. Now, in terms of offers, I've been receiving numerous offers, and it's not just been from the pandemic time. It's been from before. And if I need to consider a position, I will definitely do it if it helps me achieve the targets that I have in terms of doing better for people and doing certain changes and forming certain rules and implementing a few things. But I am not. But there is no political agenda behind doing the work that I'm doing in terms of helping the migrants or the awareness campaigns that we're creating. There are some very strong domestic violence we want to work on, because in my conversation with you previously, you mentioned to me, because you also mentioned it in Bangalore Times and written about it and done search about it, that domestic violence is on a rise. So this is something that we're also wanting to include. But majorly right now I'm working with migrants and I'm working with mental health issues. We're planning to create platforms and create a huge awareness around that, because not just during corona, but I think this is a very neglected issue in this country. So I think I really want to do something strongly about that.
Right. So does this mean that, so would this mean sometime in the future, if, say, for instance, you do get a chance to stand for election, that isn't something that you would not consider, you wouldn't mind?
I would definitely do it. And I think that more than standing for any sort of an election or something, that I completely deserve to be given a position or post with regards to the passion that I carry in doing the work that I'm doing, and it genuinely comes from the heart. So I think that it's the right time to have younger, more aggressive people in any government, because we have the futuristic vision to create change, and I think that we have the following that requires a change to be implemented also. So why not? I will definitely politics, I will definitely create a change, and I will want to be in a position to be able to implement create the awareness campaigns or the changes that I'm trying to bring about.
And talking about the changes you want to bring, you mentioned mental health, and mental health is something that is being debated within the film industry as well, with the unfortunate passing of Sushant Singh Rajput. So this has also brought this whole debate of favoritism and nepotism. Considering you worked across languages in different industries, have you personally seen any such instances?
I have faced it several times, and I think the whole partiality, the whole favoritisms and all that exists completely to the root level. That I have been replaced of films because star kids wanted to be a part of films, or camps and groups do exist in the film industry for sure. But I have fought it by myself. You know, I've completed 11 years in the film industry and I've done it by myself. I have no godfather. I have no nobody in the generations of my family is an actor. So I had to completely fight it out by myself. So tomorrow, see, there are two faces of the coin, right? So tomorrow, now my kid or my family member or somebody related to me wants to be an actor, the path will be easier for them. It won't be that I'll be, promoting them or, trying to, create like special spaces for them. But I will be able to guide them that, you should do these things and you shouldn't do certain things. That is something that I learned on my own over experience. I think that way it's a beneficial thing for anybody after me who will be doing it in my family. But I have struggled on my own, and I have already faced and I have overcome all these things by my own strength and willpower. If somebody told me that you can't do something, I worked double hard and made sure that I proved to them that I can. And that comes from that basically comes from the support of your family. That is so important. So yeah, it does exist, and I have also seen it that your recommendations, your partialities, your relationships, all these things really matter. But ultimately, if you're not talented, nothing can save you, is what I also believe. So talent does speak for its own. No matter how much ever push you get, if you're not talented, you won't. And there are like as many examples of it, besides taking names of anybody. But there are examples that star kids have done so badly, no matter numerous chances. But you know what the thing is? The sad thing is that if you're a non-star kid, you get one opportunity to prove yourself. If you're a non-star kid, you get one opportunity. But if you're a star kid, you get multiple. So that is just I think the one advantageous thing that there is. But see, talent obviously speaks for itself. Hard work speaks for itself. Passion speaks for itself. So I'm a living example for it. So I just say that just take inspiration from my story, my struggles, and my journey, and try and make your own. Instead of just complaining all the time that isne ye kar diya, usne wo kar diya. Let's just focus on our own well-being and our own development.
Perfect. And do you have, for instance, the fact that there's so much of stress at times? For instance, there might be a phase where you are looking forward for a film and that film doesn't take off or you get replaced. So how do you, is there a mental wellness routine that you've, begun to follow over the years?
See, I would be lying if I say that I don't get low or I don't get upset, because I have always been really vocal about it. Things do demoralize you. You do get upset. You do get, there have been phases where I have my journey, if you see, has been like a huge roller coaster ride. With my hits, my flops, my doing commercial films to now doing solo films, then my weight issues. So I would be the perfect example for anybody for not giving up, and going through all the roller coasters that you can in a personal journey. I've had fights with people. I've been a part of unfortunate controversies as well. I've had a wardrobe malfunction. So I think that people should really, really take a certain example, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud of my journey. I'm proud of my ups. I'm proud of my downs. So personally, I have been in two frames and in minds where I want to just give up. I want to run away, or I want to kill somebody, or just I've never had a feeling of killing myself, but I've always had the feeling of killing people. That is something that has come to me quite often, and I feel very blessed for it. At times like these, you really need to you need to pull yourself up. See, you may have friends, you may have people to speak to, which is very important also. That is so important, because people around you at the moment of weakness can change lives. We speak about suicides, we speak about deaths, we speak about self-pity. At that moment, obviously, see, if there's something bound to happen, it will happen. You can't change it, right? But if you have, say, if you're low, so whenever I would be low, or if I've had a bad day, or something is wrong, something is not right, I would just go and talk to my mom or talk to my dad, or just play with my pets, or just talk to a friend. That is something that you have to do by yourself. You can't just succumb to a weak moment that is happening to you. You need to pick up the phone and call somebody. You need to get out of the door and talk to somebody. And that comfortability level now is inbuilt with people. It doesn't come just like that. The parents have to be really, really friendly with the kids for them to be comfortable and to be able to talk about anything. and we have to also create a, we have to be also open and be able to interact. So that whole thing is really important. I have faced it so many times where I have specifically, I think the biggest example would be the wardrobe malfunction. If I give the biggest credit to Lakshmi Manchu at that given point of time, because literally when you're exposed to the whole, so basically the whole world is watching you perform live on stage, and you have a wardrobe malfunction, and and literally your breasts are like seen to the world, you're like half, it just topples off. So at that moment, if I didn't have people around me, like when I went backstage, if I didn't have Lakshmi Manchu telling me that, listen, you're a woman, it happens, get back up, what is wrong with you, you have to do your hosting, you have to do your anchoring. If she wouldn't have done that, I would have gone into severe depression, or I wouldn't have been able to, because at that given point of time, when you're all by yourself, people around you, see, there are, God sends good people, I feel, good people, bad people, the right kind of people and the right kind of moment. So she boost morale to me, but from within I was like, theek hai yaar, hota hai. Nobody, I can challenge anybody in this world to have a situation like I had and then go back up and host the awards function and bag Best Actress award that night. I still remember it. It's all like a clear vision in front of my face. And I received my Best Actress from Sridevi, and I was hosting, I was performing Saima, so I have it all so clear in front of me. But you know what I mean, right? So at those low moment points, obviously you have to do it, but people being around is so important. Otherwise, you just get into a nutshell. And the best thing was that after the wardrobe malfunction happened, this is another thing, that after a year the video got leaked out and the news got leaked out, and it has 80 million views on YouTube.
Oh wow.
I think so. It's, I think, one of the most viewed videos of mine on YouTube. And so people just and everybody's like, oh my God, what is she going to do? What is going to happen? Happens to everybody. The moment, the way, how the media lashes on you and what they want to say and what they don't want to say, and everybody's like putting the video on television. But my family also was like, theek hai, ho jata hai, so there are weak moments. Everybody has weak moments. It's how we take it and how strong we are from within, which comes from our bringing up. Very, very importantly, how the kid is brought up is so important in tackling so many issues. Mentally, a child has to be brought up really, really strongly for them to be able to forget being an actor. Just generally, that's what we're talking about. Mental health is so important. You have to address issues. Yeah, so that's all.
Perfect. Yes, you have moved on and you are working, and you have a film that you were ideally supposed to be shooting sometime now with Prakash Palwadi in the US. So tell us about that.
Oh God, I feel so bad. Like, I miss traveling so much, and I'm a vivid traveler. I can't sit. This is the longest in 11 years that I've been in one place at home and around my family, which is great. But we've all been together for the longest time in this space. So I could say that it's a blessing. But I want to travel. I really want to travel. And yeah, with my film with Prakash, so we were supposed to shoot in Seattle because the film is based around a very important social. That was also a social movement that happened recently about the Me Too and everything. So we are now intending to change the country of the of the film, and we're working on that. And I'm also working on another action film. We're just waiting for the the lockdowns to ease down a little bit, because any given point of time on a film set you require about 80 to 100 people. So it's not like television. It's not like a web where it can be shot with easy ways. But let's hope that it gets better and I start shooting July and August. I'm looking at shooting. So 2 films in the pipeline. Then I'm doing a very interesting, again, a very strong social-oriented message. Yeah. Yeah. So very socially very relevant, a very strong social subject again. So basically the next 2 years, this year is partially like nil, but 2 years I want to focus on doing some really strong content films, because with commercial elements, of course. But besides action films, I want to focus on doing like a nice biopic. I want to do like I'm discussing a really interesting adventure film as well. So I want to just explore different genres, and I'm also working on a 3-language film. So yeah, these are these interesting developments and talks that are going on.
Lovely. So now that you have thought of your future, let's revisit your past with a little bit of 20-question rapid fire.
Oh God, I am so bad with rapid fire. Okay.
Your toughest role.
Let's do this, Sunana Suresh.
Yes, your toughest role.
What?
Toughest role.
My toughest role would easily be Ragini IPS.
Your most favorite co-star.
My most favorite co-star would be, I think Shivraj Kumar. I love the guy. Oh.
Nice. Your favorite song that has been picturized on you.
My favorite song. There is this really nice. I think that the songs of terrorists are really, really nice, which they showed me very differently and very all the sides and motions of an actor.
Your most memorable film set.
Memorable film set would be which one? Yeah. I think the action sequence sets of all the action films that I've done. Specifically, Nani Next TM was really good. But but I think the one that I think everybody would have seen would be Ragini IPS. Very interesting.
One film of yours that you can watch repeatedly.
Kempe Gowda.
One film of yours that you haven't watched.
I watched all my films.
Wow.
First day, first show in the theatre.
One role you wish you hadn't said no to.
Had I said no to? Near those I feel that I should have done, but I'm not like I feel that the film would have been better if I would have done it.
One role you wish was offered to you.
Sanju and Geeta, Ramya's role. Very nice, very, very nice.
Your favorite film to unwind, and this can be not yours also.
Ice Age.
Since you like dancing, your favorite dancer in the film industry.
I think Hrithik Roshan, any day.
And in Kannada?
Shivana.
Your favorite word?
I can't say it to you. Oh God, I can say oh God. There's another word which I can't say to you officially, but you know what I'm talking about.
I have no idea. No.
Oh
and
God.
Why is that your favorite word?
Sorry?
Why is that your favorite word?
Because I just use it so often. And these two words I use too often. It starts with an F, but I use it too. But God is because just, oh God, like it's good to say God instead of use the F word. I'm trying to work on it.
Your favorite meal?
My favorite meal? Lunch.
No, what do you
Or
like?
chicken biryani and chili chicken.
Who's your constant friend?
Gurmeet. My friend for 12 years.
What would your autobiography be called?
Oh my God, this is a good one. I actually thought of this. Dog.
And there she comes.
Code the uncode.
What would the soundtrack to your life be? Which song?
Quote the unquote, okay?
Quote the that I got, but what's the soundtrack to your life? What song would be playing?
Titanium.
Titanium. Who would act in your biopic about you?
That would be very difficult. I don't think that they'll find somebody as tall as me. But I haven't really thought about that. It's a very good question. Nobody's asked me this before.
What's your spirit animal?
Tigress.
What brings a smile on your face?
Food.
And what's the most
Food
romantic?
instantly.
And the last question.
What?
What's the most romantic thing anyone's done for you?
Interesting. Decorate the whole house with rose petals and balloons.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. Very romantic.
Lovely. And that brings us to the end of your rapid fire session. Thank you so much.
Thank God for that. Thank God.
Thank you for taking time out for us.
Thank you so much, Sunaina Suresh, for speaking to me. See me soon, please.
Yes. Alrighty.